Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Today is the one that we've been waiting for. It's just under a month until the start of the Six Nations, so it is time for me to go through the table. Um, yeah, no real shocks here. I put out a poll to you guys a couple of days ago. I've got your results, I've got the bookies' results, I've got last year's results, and I've got my predictions for this year. I think it could be a tight tournament. I think there's probably about three main front runners with a fourth who has an outside shot of it. Um, but I think it could be really interesting. But yeah, let's get into it. And starting off with the team who I think is going to be bottom of the table in sixth is, of course, Wales. I hope that transition was smooth. Yeah, Wales. Um, some of the better players are back. You know, you've got the likes of Morgan, Josh Adams, and Liam Williams might be back for them, but there's still so many issues. They were winless in 2024, which is an incredible thing to say. Last year they came dead last, 0 wins. Um, yeah, and it's even tougher as you know they've got England at home and Scotland and Italy away. And to be honest with you, they're going to lose against France and Ireland anyway. So now, when I put the poll out, none of you said that Wales were going to win, which is quite sad. So 0%. The bookies have them at about 2%, which seems low, but when we compare it to some of the other teams coming up, you think, yeah, the bookies aren't that accurate. But yeah, that's Wales. Dead bottom. Don't know what much else to say. They've got problems, and I'm not just talking about Welsh people. I like the Welsh. But yeah, Wales they've got so many problems at the minute. The only upside is Cardiff are doing well in the URC. That's about it. But yeah, moving on to fifth, we have got Italy. Oh, wrong hand. I know you can't quite see it there. You can see the red. It's not Ireland. Yeah, Italy are inconsistent. They had a really good Six Nations last year, 2 wins and a draw. However, they've just not been able to kick on. I believe they lost to Tonga in the summer. And then their consistency in the autumn went from getting thumped by Argentina, which was poor, a really poor first half against Georgia, although they managed to claw it back in the second half, and then an alright showing against the All Blacks. They lost, but they lost with pride, which is a Scotland fan. I know all about that. Um, but yeah, Italy in fifth. Again, the two favourable wins, the two games that they won last year were Scotland and Wales. Both of them they have away this year. Do they? No, not including Wales. I didn't include Wales. Scotland and England, the two most favourable wins, probably. Um, they both have away. Wales they have at home, but I'm not counting that because actually I'm down to beat Wales already. But the two shocks in Scotland and England are probably the two most likely. They're both away, which is rough. Again, when I put the poll out to you guys, none of you voted for Italy to win, so that is at 0%. The bookies have them at 0.4%, which just shows how crap the bookies are when Wales are 5 times more likely to win the Six Nations than Italy in their eyes, which is just, yeah, a bunch of absolute twaddle in my eyes. But yeah, Italy, they've still got a young squad. They are improving, but I think this is still maybe a year too early for them to really do much. Again, I could bite my own words, but yeah. Into fourth, we've got England, and I am not proud of holding that flag. I really am not. But, you know, for the content. Yeah, England in fourth. They're not terrible. They are the team that I said have an outside chance. I can see, not very likely, but a scenario where they could get something done. But I don't think they're at the level of the top three, Scotland, Ireland, and France. They've got defensive issues. I mean, perfectly exampled by Australia. Australia, 1 week go and put 40 points on England. Next week, struggled to score one that was an individual try against Scotland, which just shows the difference between the two teams. Yeah, I think that they'll do enough to be able to get past an Italy and a Wales, but I don't think they're defensively solid enough for teams like Scotland, Ireland, and France who will exploit them and will score if your defence isn't 100%. Also, all the backroom staff problems, they keep having to bring in and out backroom staff. I think England's coaching's in a crisis. I'm going to be honest, but yeah. Last year they came third, 3 wins. Yeah, pretty not bad result for them. I think that is primarily from Scotland bottling it against France and Italy mainly, but still third isn't bad for them. 13% of you think England are going to win Six Nations, so there is a small contingency, but it's not a massive chance. And the bookies very, very weirdly have them at 22%. So this is England's going to win 1 in 5 Six Nations, which when you have a look at some of the others coming up, I think is absolutely ridiculous. But I think bookies are England favourites. So, yeah. Moving on to third, I've got Scotland. And Scotland are probably the first of these teams to have a real chance at doing something this year. As I've said before, I think the next three are very tight. I believe the supercomputer has Scotland, France, and Ireland to all be on 4 wins each, and it comes down to bonus points and point difference, which who knows at that point. But I don't know. They have France and England away, which I think are going to be 2 tough games. Again, I said at the start of the season that I think England might take back the Calcutta Cup this year, although I did say England might win the Six Nations, but I still have this feeling England are going to beat them. I can't tell you why, I just have this feeling. However, on the flip side, this is Scotland's best chance in years to beat Ireland, in my opinion. I'll get onto Ireland in a minute or two. I'm not going to tell you who comes first, but I'll talk about Ireland soon. But I do think this is Scotland's best chance. They only lost to them 4 points last year. They're at home this time. Yeah. Last year they came fourth with only 2 wins. Obviously that France game with all the controversy with that last minute try that he definitely did ground, but I'm not going to get into it. And then obviously that bottle against Italy. Asking you guys, a whopping 31% of you guys think Scotland could win this. I am going to be honest, there is quite a lot of Scottish bias in between some of you guys, so yeah. But it's still interesting to see. But bizarrely, the bookies only have them down at a 14% chance, so they're basically saying England are about 50% more likely to win the Six Nations than Scotland, which I just don't think they've watched any rugby in the last 4 years. Yeah. But hey, yeah, I think Scotland will be good. I think they'll probably beat the 3 bottom, but France and Ireland, I think they're going to struggle, as is kind of the story with Scotland at this moment in time. Moving on to second, I've got Ireland, and I keep doing that. I keep reading this hand. It's this hand. Ireland. Yeah, Ireland are obviously one of the best teams in the world at the minute. But I think they have a few issues going into this. The first and the glaringly obvious one is Noel Farrell. He has moved to take over for the Lions, so you've got Easterby in. I'm going to be brutally honest, I don't know much about him. I'd imagine he's not bad, presuming he's been selected to be the head coach, or the temp head coach of one of the best teams in the world, but still, compare that to Fabien Galtier at France, to Townsend at Scotland even. They have had time, both of them have been head coaches for 5+ years. They're in position to, they're settled with their squads and just might be a tough ask. Also, you look at Ireland over the autumn and they weren't that amazing. They obviously lost to the All Blacks. Argentina pushed them close, and Australia pushed them close. Which you compare that to the autumns of a Scotland and a France, who, again, I said it'll be close between them. Scotland comfortably beat Australia. Okay, had a few issues against South Africa, but I thought it was actually quite a tight game on the pitch. The difference was South Africa could score. The reason I think they've come in second is more the fact I think Scotland will bottle it against them. As I said, it's Scotland's best chance in years, but I think Scotland will bottle it. I think I'll talk about France in a minute or two, but yeah. Last year they won it, obviously 4 wins with that late defeat to England, stopping the slam. When previewing, only 19% of you think Ireland are going to win the Six Nations. Again, I have a lot of Irishmen who are quite conserved about what they think Ireland are going to do watching, so I suspect there's a bit of bias from that in there. The bookies have them in actually as favourites at 36% chance of winning. So a big jump from anyone else. Again, I've not spoken about France, it is a lot closer, but yeah. But I've got Ireland in second, so obviously that means in first is obviously Le Bleu. And France have had a stellar autumn, comfortably beating teams like New Zealand and Argentina. Now again, I know the New Zealand game's close, but I think France were fairly comfortable in that game. I'm going to move this through a bit. And yeah, they've also got some of the bigger names back. They didn't have the likes of Ntamak or Dupont last Six Nations, and they do have them this Six Nations, so that did affect them last Six Nations not having them. They came second with 3 wins and a draw. Obviously that performance against Italy for that draw, which they actually got very lucky to draw, if you remember the outside of that post, saving them. And then you've obviously got that win against Scotland, which we don't talk about. But yeah, France in my eyes are favourites. You do agree when I put the poll out, 38% of you think they're going to win, so it's quite close between France at 38 and Scotland at 31, but France do win it. Bookies wise, again, France are actually second with a 33% chance of winning it, Ireland with a 36, so it is tight between them, but yeah, again, I think the 3 of these teams are going to be close in France, Ireland and Scotland. Interestingly, they all have each other 1 game home, 1 game away, so France are away to Ireland, at home to Scotland, Ireland are away to Scotland, at home to France, Scotland are at home to Ireland, away to France, so there is, to be honest with you, quite a high likelihood that all 3 of them could win their home game and lose their away leg against each other. And then, it'd come down to if they can beat everyone else and by how much, Scotland going to Twickenham, quite unlikely for them to get a bonus point win if they can pull off the win. Same with France. However, Ireland of England at home, which, it's all interesting, but I do probably think France are favourites. That's why I've got them in top. Yeah, as I said, that is my predictions. Let me know yours. Let me know what you think. So just to run you back through, Wales in 6th, Italy in 5th, England 4, Scotland 3, Ireland 2 and France in 1 first. So thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe, and until next time, I shall see you later.